Okay, so I've done this once before, and I might make it a series where I take trending tweets and start my video topics based off of them. So I'll put them somewhere here. You'll regret it if you get married. You'll regret it if you don't get married. You'll regret it if you have kids, and you'll regret it if you don't. Kierkegaard said this 200 years ago as follows: whatever you choose, you'll regret it. Because the problem isn't your choices, it's in romanticizing your life. A person always finds an untraveled path alluring and mysterious. That's why the issue isn't making the right choice, it's choosing and deciding which regret you'll live with. In life, we must choose our regret. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren. If you've never seen my face before, I am your resident intuitive daddy. And yeah, I wanted to talk about this because I think that this is such a low level or low conscious way of thinking. And I want to unpack why. And it also connects into something that I had actually wanted to talk about already. So, first off, to start, I'm going to go through the four levels of consciousness. The first level is where I believe this idea is birthed from, which is that life happens to us. It's the belief that we don't really have control over our decisions, and it's just kind of like it's just a really negative way of looking at the world. It's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Life happens to us. We don't have control. The second level of consciousness is that life happens for us. So it's the belief that every single decision that we make, everything that happens, is happening for us in some way, whether it is for the present moment or for the future. So when something goes wrong, it's not necessarily that it went wrong, but it might have been because we weren't ready for what we actually we're being prepared for what we're actually meant to hold, or there could be some other reason why the timing was just off. And it's something that you're not supposed to understand now, but you are meant to understand in the future. And I have talked about this concept in many different videos. Third level of consciousness, where I think is where I actually am at, only because of the way that I replied to this specific tweet. Because what I said is that this is also a low consciousness take. When you're operating at a high level, you understand there's nothing to regret because life happens through us. So that's what the third level of consciousness is that life happens through us. Every decision has a reason and it leads to growth if you let it. So it's the idea that because we are one with source, God, universe, whatever resonates with you, that we are communicating with our higher selves, and we are just physical beings split off from the source, God, universe, consciousness entity, um, the omniscient, formless being that is all that is, come down here to have a physical form or a physical experience, to experience form, limitation, and contrast. Um, so all that to say is that, yeah, we have a plan from the divine that comes through us. The fourth level of consciousness, where I think is where a lot of my beliefs lie, but I guess, and this is kind of, yeah, like this is really telling that I'm not actually there yet, is that life happens as us. So it's the understanding that we are truly the wielders of our lives. It's more of a subconscious thing. It's just like whatever you believe you are, whatever you emanate into the world, whatever you vibrate as, is what you're going to get back. Not what you think you are, what you actually embody in the moment. And that's why it's so important to raise your awareness and to uncover what your subconscious beliefs are, because that is dictating what you experience. The reason why it's really popular is because it resonates with a lot of people there, and that's because there's a lot of people, when it comes to the specific examples they're using, feel this way. I read through the comments, and honestly, it is really sad to see how many people are living in lives that they regret. What I want to share about my experience as to why I I don't have regrets in my life is because I truly understand that there are decisions that I've made in my life that, had I not made them, or yeah, had I not made the decisions that I meant to regret, I wouldn't be where I am now. I could be in a completely different life, and I can't say that it's better or worse. And at the end of the day, I really love my life now. So the biggest decision that is a great example for this is leaving my marriage. I got married, and a lot of people, like in this tape, could say that I regret getting married, but I don't. Why? Because had I not gotten married, I wouldn't have had my child. Had I not had my child, I wouldn't. First of all, I love my child. That is my pride and joy there. And also, there are things that I've learned from being a mother that translate into my higher purpose. And even leaving the marriage has helped so much in my spiritual journey. It's helped really strengthen my my relationship with my intuition, with myself, because I was able to see that, oh shit, I didn't know what I wanted when I married the person that I married. I didn't understand what I wanted or needed from a partner. And now that I do, I made another decision to correct that. How can I actually regret that decision if that decision has made me who I am right now, especially if I like who I am right now? I feel like if you regret something, it's because there's a decision that you wanted to make that you didn't make, and the life that you're living in right now is not the reality you want to be living in. And I feel like the idea of regret is the idea that you're now trapped in that reality. When I had realized that I had married the wrong person, I realized that I had two options at that point. I could either stay in the marriage because because I had gotten married in front of maybe like 200 people, and everybody knew that we had gotten married, and in leaving the marriage, then other people would think either that there was someone else and that I was leaving for them, or that something toxic had happened, or what have you, whatever people know people to get out of marriages from. Or I could honor my decision, not really give a fuck about what other people think about it, and just live the life I actually want. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck, is that a lot of people are too afraid to admit that a decision that they made when they were younger wasn't the right decision for them. So, what I was saying at the beginning of the video, when I said I had a topic that I had actually wanted to talk about, this ties back to, it was that I wanted to talk about how there's a lot of are people who talk about marriage kind of like it's a trap, only feel that way because they've trapped themselves in it. And it typically happens. So I actually had a second reply that I wrote down, but I didn't actually reply. But I said that you only regret things you wanted to experience, but either didn't get to or rushed and felt you did wrong. And I put wrong, I would say that wrong is in quotations. So for myself, I I kind of looked at it or explained it to other people as I rushed. The way that he wanted to live his life wasn't conducive to the way that I wanted to live my life. And it was because I had been following a model that wasn't my own. And I think a lot of us get trapped in that, where we think we also, I think a lot of people, namely women, get really caught up in feeling like we're running out of time because we have biological clocks. So I feel like sometimes we don't wait for the one. I think a lot of people who get married because they want, they either want to have kids or they just feel like they're supposed to. They just think that that's the next milestone in life. And even though they might have usually subconscious doubts in their partner, they settle. You know, they get married, and then they they get into these marriages that are more of a bid for control than what an actual working partnership should be. And then years down the line, they start to feel like, or they start to think about what life they would have had they decided differently, as opposed to just choosing differently now. And I think that's where my experience is an example of what people should be doing, is that we shouldn't regret the decisions we've made, or we shouldn't stay in regret. It's like once you realize that something wasn't right for you, you're always one decision away from the life that you actually want to make. All you have to do is start to choose differently. But the problem with a lot of us is because a lot of us think or care too much about what other people think about our lives, is why we keep ourselves trapped in it. Like I said, when I was faced with that decision, when I was faced with deciding whether I wanted to, or whether I was going to stay just because there were other people who were going to think something about my current decision, I chose to live the life I wanted to experience, because at the end of the day, I'm here to have my experience, not to project an experience for other people. And I think a lot of people don't know how to think like that. It's foreign and it's not anybody's fault. We were literally conditioned for most of our lives to think this way, to feel as though that we owe it to other people to live our life a certain way rather than to live it the way that we want to live it. So all that to say, live your life messy. Live, do make the decisions that feel right for you in the moment, and then if later down the line you realize that, oh shit, that's actually not, this is bad news. This is not what I wanted. Then make another decision to course correct. Make as many decisions as you need to make to course correct to get yourself back on track, because there's always a better way that you can experience life. You're never fully locked into anything until you die. So, yeah. And if you are somebody who needs support, needs help in sorting out those thoughts, sorting out what thoughts are actually yours and what thoughts belong to other people, whether that's society, your family, your environment, your friends, whatever, hit me up. My email is in the description, as well as other links to where else you can find me. I am a life coach, and I became a life coach specifically because of this, because I realized that the decisions that I've made for myself in the past, I want to say year and a half now. Yeah, year and a half, just about year and a half now. are hard to make. It's hard to choose for yourself. And that's just part of the paradox of life is it feels like it should be easy, but maybe there are certain things in life that we go through because it makes our experience just that much worth it when we actually get to experience it. But to be able to choose to experience it, you have to break out of that thinking. So if you want help with that, please do come find me. And if not, I really hope that this resonated. And I hope this helps you on your journey, whether big or small. So, with that, like, comment, subscribe, comment. Yes, please do add to the discussion. What do you think? How do you look at regret? And until next time, goodbye.